היא אומרת לי, אני פני, אני אם לארבעה ילדים, ואני אומר, כדי שהילדים שלי יחיו במדינה הזאת, אנחנו חייבים להשיב מלחמה שערה. מלחמת יום הכיפורים, היה, אבל אני לא זוכר אש כזאת סוחפת, גורפת.
Welcome to the Frontline Reports YouTube channel. As we know, the Lebanese border has been very active since the start of the war between Israel and Hamas. The militants and the Israeli infantry here have been clashing on a regular basis. The Lebanese army made a dramatic statement this morning. It said that Israel had carried out a bomb attack on a Lebanese military outpost near the southern border of its territory. The intensity of this attack was very high. The soldiers at the outpost suffered heavy damage because they did not recognize the attack beforehand. In fact, one of the Lebanese soldiers was killed during the attack. The interesting part of this news is this. This is the first such death since the cross-border fighting began in October. 3 others were wounded following the attack on the border post on the Oweda Hill, the army said today. A military position in the Adese area was shelled by the Israeli enemy, killing 1 soldier and wounding 3 others. Since October 7th, Israel and armed groups in South Lebanon, and in particular the powerful Iranian-backed Hezbollah, have engaged in clashes along the border, in which more than 100 people have been killed. About 80 of them are Hezbollah fighters. Since the breakdown of the ceasefire between Hamas and Israel, Israeli forces and Hezbollah have exchanged daily fire along the Israel-Lebanon border. Today, Hezbollah said its fighters attacked 4 Israeli positions along the border. Israel responded by saying that several missiles fired from southern Lebanon had landed in empty fields. The Lebanese National News Agency reported that Israeli forces shelled and carried out airstrikes in southern Lebanon near the border. Despite the steady pace of tit-for-tat reprisals, Israel and Hezbollah have so far taken steps to prevent an escalation that could lead to a full-scale war. The Lebanese army has not participated in the fighting. In late November, a United Nations peacekeeping force in southern Lebanon reported that its forces had come under fire from Israeli forces, an incident it described as deeply disturbing. Tens of thousands of people living in communities near the borders of both countries have evacuated their homes, fearing that they could end up in the middle of a standoff. Unfortunately, this war has upset the order in the lives of many innocent people. After this crushing attack on Lebanon's border, the Israeli Defense Forces have again mobilized to prevent Hamas's terrorist activities. In particular, during the hostage crisis, the terrorist organization was again found to be making critical preparations in underground tunnels in the Gaza Strip. After a period of stagnation, IDF forces launched a major operation using new warfare tactics to trap and destroy Hamas in its tunnel lines in Gaza. It has been claimed that a number of Hamas terror tunnels have been discovered in recent days as part of the Israeli Defense Forces ground offensive in the northern Gaza settlements of Beit Hanun, Beit Laya, Jabalia, Al-Shadi Camp, and Zaytun. The Israeli Defense Forces, IDF, surrounded Jabalia and then proceeded to destroy dozens of tunnel shafts, as well as a huge number of Hamas headquarters and weapons sources, tunnel lines, weapon stores, and terror camps belonging to Hamas were wrecked by Israeli Defense Forces troops in Al-Shadi camp. Hamas tunnel networks that were created underground in public locations were blocked and destroyed by Israeli Defense Forces near Zaytun. It was claimed by the Israel Defense Forces that since the beginning of the ground attack 1 month ago, soldiers had discovered and destroyed about 400 tunnel shafts in the Gaza Strip. The dismantling of Hamas tunnels was significantly aided by the participation of troops belonging to the elite Yahalom Combat Engineering Unit. It was discovered that the tunnel entrances belonging to the terrorist organization Hamas were located deep within civilian infrastructure, which included residential structures, schools, hospitals, and other environments. Because of this, The Israeli Defense Forces, IDF, accused Hamas of employing the Palestinian population of Gaza as human shields by purposefully putting its infrastructure in an environment that was often inhabited by civilians. On the other hand, all of these operations, including the discovery and destruction of underground tunnels belonging to Hamas, were only preliminary scenarios for the new war strategy that the Israeli Defense Forces, IDF, have been implementing. As a matter of fact, it was just recently disclosed that the Israeli Defense Forces, IDF, have started using salt water to flood terror tunnels belonging to Hamas in the Gaza Strip as part of their new military strategy. Israeli soldiers were shown in a video that was published by the Israeli Defense Forces, IDF, military units taking water from the sea by passing lengthy water pipes into the entrance sites of Hamas's underground tunnel lines. These pipes were used to transmit water from the ocean to the tunnel lines, which resulted in the underground tunnels becoming inundated once the water was transferred. This innovative tactic was initiated by the Israeli Defense Forces, IDF, against the most major tunnel networks in Gaza, which is where members of the so-called leadership of the Hamas terrorist group are stationed. It is likely that the underground headquarters, weapons caches, and access roads that are currently housing Hamas's top terror commanders are being destroyed by the seawater that is running through the pipes. The Israeli Defense Forces, IDF, intend to use this strategy in order to replace the underground tunnel lines that are used by the terrorist organization Hamas in Gaza with aquatic tunnels. This startling strategy was not anticipated by Hamas, which resulted in the terrorist organization being caught off guard. In particular, this plan has made a significant dent in Hamas' efforts to retreat to the south of the Strip at a crucial time when the Israeli Defense Forces are attempting to penetrate the center of Gaza from the north. As a result of the Israeli Defense Forces filling the underground tunnel lines with seawater, the terrorist group known as Hamas is having a very difficult time moving its so-called leaders and commanders to the southern part of Gaza. As the seawater travels down the tube lines, what will happen to Hamas, which is located in these underground passages? The Israeli Defense Forces, IDF, will most likely implement this innovative method in all of the terror tunnels located in the Gaza Strip, once all of the captives have been freed. Hamas militants can be brought out of the subterranean and into the open by this method, which is the most effective possible method. In order for this strategy to be utilized without restriction throughout the Strip, however, it is necessary that all of the hostages that are now being held by Hamas be released. This is due to the fact that the tunnel network that Hamas maintains in the Gaza Strip is composed of 2 layers, with one of those layers housing the hostages. Even in the event that the Israeli Defense Forces do not follow through on their plan to flood the tunnels with seawater in the stratum where the hostages are located, it is likely that the terrorist organization Hamas may exploit this as a tool for black propaganda and push the hostages to enter these regions. Consequently, it is necessary for the Israeli Defense Forces to investigate all of these underground routes, which are referred to as tactical and strategic tunnel lines, in order to determine the precise location of the hostages. It is believed that the Israeli Defense Forces, IDF, implemented their seawater technique within the tactical tunnels of Hamas.